Hi, and welcome to Teen Kids News. I'm Lila. We've got a lot to cover in this week's show, so let's get started. Here's our top story. All of us, no matter where we are in the country, all of us have a common shared experience, COVID-19. As Alexandra reports, where we were living, how old we were, what kind of work our parents did, these vary from place to place, even from teen to teen.
But what doesn't vary is the simple truth that COVID has no doubt left its mark on teens. So much so that some call us the COVID generation.
Because it was really scary just thinking about the world around you. And I was in 6th grade when COVID happened. So living through COVID was just very intimidating because you don't really understand what's going on, but you just see a bunch of people panicking.
Fortunately, the panic is gone. But for many of us, scars remain. And what effect is that having? To discuss this, we're joined by Dr. Josh McConkey. Working in an emergency room during COVID, he saw its effects firsthand. The crisis of people getting sick is hopefully behind us. But some effects of COVID still linger, don't they?
They certainly do. In my emergency rooms, I see a lot of those effects. We see a lot of the mental health crisis that is affecting teenagers. We see increased rates of anxiety and depression and that fear of missing out that you all feel.
We've spoken with a number of teens, asking them to share their thoughts on the impact COVID has had.
I think COVID definitely impacted a lot of teens by giving them a lot of anxiousness.
That's certainly true, isn't it, Doctor? Teens today do experience more anxiety.
There's a very rising mental health crisis. I see a lot of anxiety and I see some depression. And unfortunately, I have seen some suicides as well, which are always hard to deal with. But the good news is we can do something about it.
For those who feel anxious, even depressed, what do you recommend?
Don't keep those feelings to yourself. Make sure you let your parents know, your teachers know, let your friends know, all those people around you. Let them know. Don't keep it to yourself.
One of the issues we've heard a lot about is social isolation. For example,
I like physical touch and hugs a lot, so it was way harder for me personally because I was only able to text and call my friends and FaceTime sometimes, but not being able to see them every single day for school, it was way harder, I think.
Those feelings of isolation were felt by everybody, myself included. So when your only interactions with people are over video screens, they shut down schools for a while, they shut down community centers, and that was the only interactions with your friends and sometimes your family, like your grandparents, was over video screens. So that was critical for your development, and that's why we see some of these mental health crisis issues.
How can we fix that?
The best way to fix that is to get out and get engaged in your community. Put down the screen, get out from behind the phone, and go out in your community. Go play some sports, get outside, go see your friends, volunteer, go to your animal shelter. There's so many things that you can really do to help with that.
Another issue that came up was a lot about our education.
I think COVID has had an impact on our learning abilities because I know personally I was home pretty much my entire 8th grade year during COVID, so I felt like I didn't really learn everything that I needed to.
Well, that's the good news is you can definitely do something about it, but you do have to be proactive and let people know. There's tutoring and after-school programs available. You just have to ask.
Not only are you a doctor, you're also a colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve, as well as an author. In your book, Be the Weight Behind the Spear, one of the reoccurring themes is resilience. For our younger viewers, the dictionary defines resilience as the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. For some teens, not all the effects of COVID have been harmful.
But in day-to-day life, I actually think I benefited. It taught me that I have to kind of be responsible for myself and I have to be in charge of getting my own stuff done, like schoolwork or chores, and it just kind of helped me mature a little bit, in my opinion.
That right there is a perfect example of resiliency. You encounter an issue and you take charge of that yourself and work on fixing that. So taking charge of your life, making sure that you're putting that time in, being accountable, taking ownership of the problem, that is a perfect example of building resiliency skills.
Another example of resiliency is a sense of humor. Here's how one teen answered our question about the difficulties he faced.
During COVID, I would say the difficulty is going to the bathroom because, there was barely any tissue. You go to the bathroom, all of it was just gone.
That is certainly one way to deal with it. And that's a great example of resiliency. Humor. If you can joke about it, then that shows great resiliency skills.
Good to know. I, for one, will try to laugh more. Thanks, Dr. McConkey.
Thank you very much for having me on the show today.
Yes, many of us are still feeling the effects of the COVID crisis. But as we've just heard, the negatives should pass. But if you feel things are still really bad or getting worse, speak to an adult. Help is available. For Teen Kids News, I'm Alexandra.
We've got lots more coming up in the show. During this commercial break, take a minute to like, follow, and subscribe to our socials so you never miss out on Teen Kids News. We'll be right back. We can all use some advice on how to do our best in school. So, Christin's back with another Make the Grade report.
Filling out college applications can be a real pain. Ask anyone who's done it. Most will also tell you that one of the hardest parts of the application is writing that personal essay. It requires that you look back on your life and write about something that helped you become the person you are. Problem is, that's not always easy to do. We've all had so many experiences over so many years. It often ends up being a case of not being able to remember any specific situations. So if you're at least a number of months away from applying to college, here's a tip. Keep an essay journal. Whenever you have a special, unusual, or valuable learning experience, make a note of it. Not just the bare facts, but your feelings as well. And do it while those feelings are still fresh. Later on, when that day to fill out college applications finally rolls around, just pull out your essay journal. Rather than having to rack your brains trying to remember events from years past, many of the most meaningful life experiences will be at your fingertips. I'm Christin, here to help you make the grade.
Back in 1972, Charles Duke was training for the Apollo 16 mission to the moon. From having to learn about geology to driving the lunar rover, the training kept him away from his family for long periods. To make up for his many absences, Duke promised his 2 young sons that he'd take them with him to the moon. Of course, he couldn't really do that, but he did do the next best thing. Duke had a family photo taken in their backyard. He then brought that photo with him during his mission. But Duke, the 10th human to walk on the moon, took one giant step more. He left the photo wrapped in plastic on the moon's surface. On the back of the photo was a message. This is the family of astronaut Duke from planet Earth, who landed on the moon on the 20th of April, 1972. In case you're wondering, Duke had gotten permission from NASA to leave the photo on the lunar surface. And it's still there, though probably pretty faded from being exposed to cosmic radiation for more than 50 years. It's amazing how far some dads will go to keep a promise. For Teen Kids News, I'm Jack.
We've got to take a short break, and then we'll be back with more Teen Kids News. E-cigarettes. A lot of teens may think they're an okay alternative to regular cigarettes, but as Benjamin reports, they're not.
Just so we're all on the same page, what are e-cigarettes?
I believe e-cigarettes are electronic cigarettes?
Correct. Sometimes referred to as a vape pen, there are 3 parts to an e-cigarette. The vaporizer, that's a tiny heating device. There's the battery, and then there's the cartridge. This holds the liquid that is heated, giving off a vapor that looks like smoke.
An e-cigarette is like a cleaner version of a cigarette. I think it's with water vapor.
Actually, it's not. Many experts believe that the vapor contains dangerous chemicals, including propylene glycol, which is often used in antifreeze put in cars.
The biggest issue with nicotine is that it's very, very highly addictive. And nicotine of itself can cause long-term health issues to your heart, to your lungs, and the brain with memory issues, with behavioral problems.
I think e-cigarettes are worse for teenagers than regular cigarettes because e-cigarettes give you a false sense of security. You tend to think, oh, they're safer, it's just the nicotine and not all those other chemicals. But really, the nicotine is what hooks you, what gets you addicted to smoking.
Yet many teens continue to vape. According to the federal government, more than 2.5 million high school and middle school students use e-cigarettes. What may confuse many teens is that they hear that adults use e-cigarettes as a supposedly healthier alternative to smoking.
And I think it's meant as a way for people to quit smoking so it's not as addictive as real cigarettes.
But, as we've heard, e-cigarettes still have nicotine. So don't make the mistake of believing they're safe.
I understand the coolness of it, and you think that you might see other adults doing it, which makes you think that it's safe, but it's really not safe for anyone, and it's especially harmful for the teenagers.
I think teens smoke e-cigarettes because they think it's cool and that it's like a social thing to them, and they don't think it's as bad as normal cigarettes.
Probably from peer pressure, just to look cool. Here, I just think people see other people doing it, and that's why they do them so much.
Adding to the attraction is the fact that e-cigarettes can often come in different flavors. For example, they can be made to taste like fruit or even candy.
I think e-cigarettes come in different flavors to appeal to more people than just normal cigarettes do.
I think because it appeals more to kids and it'll make them want to buy it.
So when you're using a vape, even if it's a flavored vape, no matter what kind of vape it is, there is nicotine in the vape.
By the way, if you already smoke regular cigarettes, switching to vaping is not the right way to quit.
E-cigarettes should not be used as a method to stop smoking. There are other better ways that can be used under a doctor's care to help curb the smoking cravings.
There's a lot we still don't know about e-cigarettes, but one thing is for sure. E-cigarettes are no match for a healthy lifestyle. If you do smoke and want to quit, you can call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. They even have a special program just for teens. I'm Benjamin for Teen Kids News.
Each week, Teen Kids News showcases a comment sent in by a viewer. So don't be shy. Send us a short note about the show. Please include your first name and the town or city where you live. Then watch for your debut on national TV. We'll be right back with more Teen Kids News. Next time you're in the kitchen, you might want to give this tip from Katie a try.
When it comes to food, it's an age-old dilemma. You want to buy the larger containers because you get more bang for your buck. But the larger the size, the more time it takes to eat it all up. And the longer that takes, the greater the chance the food will spoil before you've finished it. That's especially true with foods like yogurt and sour cream. Here's a clever way to keep them lasting longer after you've opened them. Put them in the fridge, upside down. That will create a vacuum in the container, which inhibits bacteria growth. Of course, check that the lids fit snugly, or you could end up with an ugly mess. For Teen Kids News, I'm Katie.
Driving. It's not just a privilege, it's a responsibility. And to help you drive responsibly, the National Road Safety Foundation produced this video.
Hey, what's up, loser?
Bullies.
Get out of the way, nerd.
They're in school.
Get out of the way, nerd.
And they're also on the road.
Come on, let's go, let's go.
Especially when they tailgate. Here, a sudden stop is no big deal. But on the road, tailgating can be deadly. Rear-end collisions cause approximately 2,000 deaths per year. Don't learn by accident. Give yourself a safety cushion.
A message from the Wheeling Park High School SAD chapter and the National Road Safety Foundation.
Don't miss the other cool videos created by the NRSF. It's easy. Simply like, follow, and subscribe to the National Road Safety Foundation. We'll be back with more Teen Kids News right after this. largest living things walking the earth. And in many ways, they're surprisingly human. In this segment of Can You Believe It?, we get up close and personal with elephants.
In the shadow of Africa's famous Mount Kilimanjaro stretches Amboseli National Park. People from around the world come here for unforgettable encounters with wildlife that are truly in the wild. And the animal most sought after is the elephant, an animal as remarkable as it is huge. Being just yards away from the humongous beast as it lumbers by is an unforgettable experience. And speaking of unforgettable, it is true that elephants have great memories, and they have many more human characteristics. For example, elephants live about as long as we typically do, 70 years. They love water sports, and they display emotions. This certainly looks like it could be a family hug. When elephants are sad, they cry. They're also the only animal, other than us, that mourns for something or someone who has died. They are even said to have a sense of humor. But elephants can also be dangerous when angered. During ancient warfare, they were very much like our modern fighting tanks, used for shock and awe. Most famously, during the Punic Wars, that was the on-again, off-again conflict between Rome, located in what would become Italy, and Carthage, a powerful city on the northern coast of Africa. During the 3rd century BCE, Hannibal ferried 37 elephants to Europe. Then he, his army, and his elephants climbed over the mountainous Alps and invaded the Roman Republic. Despite the frightening size of his war elephants, the Romans didn't back down. Hannibal lost the decisive Battle of Zama. Even as late as the 19th century, the British Army was still using elephants. Their tremendous strength made them into domesticated bulldozers. At Amboseli, hundreds of elephants, some of the largest on the planet, roam the savannah. And they carry their own air conditioning with them. Their ears are large for a reason. When they flap back and forth, they help the elephant to cool off. Males are called bulls, and they live on their own. The herds are made up of only youngsters, called calves, and adult females. The leader of the herd is the oldest female, called the matriarch. Those white birds are egrets, and they help the herd in a couple of ways. In return for getting a free ride, the egrets eat annoying insects that bite the elephants. They also warn the herd if danger is approaching. And elephants are in danger. Poaching has been a problem for centuries. About 20,000 elephants are killed for their tusks every year. Even a protected park like Amboseli isn't completely safe. It's so big, it's difficult to keep an eye on the herds at all times. To be clear, protecting elephants is not just about keeping them around so we can continue to marvel at these marvelous creatures. Elephants play an outsized role in helping to protect our planet.
It's quite amazing. Elephants are a keystone species. When they thrive, huge benefits cascade through the ecosystems. Elephants transport plant seeds across landscapes, creating more biodiversity. They also help fertilize plants with key nutrients, making them healthier and stronger. They clear brush through their sheer size and weight and use their tusks to dig for water. This creates watering holes and clears the paths for smaller species to migrate as well. The healthier the elephant makes the environment, the more effective that environment will be storing carbon. In essence, fighting climate change.
So protecting elephants, whether here, at Amboseli, or around the world, will help protect our world's environment. I'd call that a win-win. A very big win-win. And speaking of very big, here's an interesting piece of elephant trivia. A common term for something that is very large is jumbo, as in jumbotron, jumbo jet, or my personal fave, jumbo shrimp, which doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it. Anyway, the word comes from Jumbo the elephant, a much-loved attraction at the London Zoo in the late 1800s. The British were sad when Jumbo was taken to America by his new owner, showman P.T. Barnum. He made the huge elephant the star of his popular traveling circus. Jumbo became so famous that his name began to be used to describe anything that's unusually big, which still doesn't explain why something as small as shrimp would be called Jumbo. For Teen Kids News, I'm Ava.
Well, that wraps up our show for this week, but we'll be back with more Teen Kids News next week. See you then.